We're going to be kicked off by a player from Finland making his first ever professional start. Kari Grunrus gets a new World League season underway, and it's a shallow kick which is fielded by Ron Carpenter at the 12. And Carpenter has some running room down the right sideline, and he's at midfield before he's brought down by Alan de Grappenried. But great field position for the Admirals on Carpenter's return.
One of the things Jim Kreiner talked about, Nick, was he was worried about his special teams. Didn't have the opportunity to see it and get much work because of the bad weather in Scotland.
Well, Al Luganbill will be delighted with that. Carpenter has taken it all the way to the 47-yard line of the Scottish Claymores. That's where John Saka is going to start off for the Admirals. They've talked pre-season about establishing the run. And they have two men in the backfield, and it's play action, and it doesn't work because Saka is sacked. Wilkie Basil was in there. And that'll bring up second and long, not the start offensively the Admirals were looking for. So the aptly named John Saka was just sacked there. He played his college football in Eastern Kentucky and then Penn State as well. Saw a bit of playing time there. And he says this is a big career opportunity for him. A loss of about 9 yards on that very first play brings up second and long. Now they do go on the ground, and it's to the Dutch national player Frank Temming who gets it close to midfield, but that's going to bring up third and about 14. Kevin Scott coming in and making the stop.
Well, Nick, on special teams, you know, they say special teams sets the tone for the game. And you have a big opening return, it takes you out to the 50, and your defense stuffs them right off the bat.
They'll often work with a 3-wide receiver package. Dawkins in the backfield, but Ralph Temming gets some time now because this is a national player series, meaning a European or a non-American must play, and Temming getting his chance. He's in the back with the H-back Davis, and trouble once again for Saka. Gets hit and loses the ball, and it's recovered. It looks like it's been recovered by Troy Bailey at the 40. Disaster for Amsterdam after that tremendous special team start.
You know, kind of ironic, you know, we talked to Al Luganbill, and one of the things he said was he wanted to run the ball. Well, they came out, they tried 2 passing attempts, and both passing attempts were sacked. The line just didn't give him enough time. I mean, he had people all over. Did you see the spin move by 95, Jason Simmons? The left end. He's the one that caused that fumble, and then Troy Bailey falls right on the ball.
It's a great field position for Dave Barr of the San Francisco 49ers. Scott Cooper, the Scot, goes in motion. Barr drops, has a lot of time, and it's a drop ball. Cedric Saunders couldn't hang on to it.
I'm trying to work that motherfucker up.
But a lot of time for Dave Barr there, a young man who hasn't played since 1994, was active with the Rams in 95 but didn't play. And we talked to him last night, Bill. He didn't look like a guy or sound like a guy that was nervous.
I'll tell you, he said, hey, you know, he's having fun over here. He thought last year he was out of football for good. And then he had the chance to come over here and play. He says, I'm going to have fun and make the most of this opportunity.
Second down after the incompletion, and Barr had a lot of time there. Now Amsterdam show blitz, and there's trouble because there's penetration, and all over the play was Mark Lillibridge storming through from inside linebacker. So defense is on top early here in Amsterdam.
As you can imagine, early in the season in any league, it takes a while for offenses to gel. Whether you be running the ball, pass blocking, the defense is always going to have the advantage, especially when you're going to run a blitz.
3rd and 15 for the Claymores offense. The backs and receivers, Ron Dickerson and Jared Cahill in the backfield. Alan de Grappenried and Joe Murphy, and Ricky Brady, the tight end. When Murphy doesn't play it, Scott Cooper will get his chance on a national series, and Cooper is in now. Barr decides to scramble. He said he would do this, but meets resistance and is going to be well short. Mark Lillibridge stopping him about 9 yards shy. And that is going to bring out the special teams unit, and Spence Fisher punting for the Claymores. Fisher allocated as a quarterback from the Miami Dolphins, and they're going without a recognized punter, and Fisher has not had a lot of time punting the ball.
Well, you can also be aware of a fake especially when you have a quarterback as your punter. But I think that's why Dave Barr got the start, is because his ability to run, as we just saw.
Now Very low snap. Fisher handles it and manages to get it off after taking his time. A fair catch is called for and made at about the 13-yard line by Jeff Russell. So, no score. Defense is very on top. Early days here in Amsterdam. We'll be back in just a couple of moments.
Hey, the action is crisp right now, but I mean, to start off, we talked about Ron Carpenter takes a nice kickoff back.
Good return by Ron Carpenter.
Back in front of 40,000 fans at Murrayfield in Edinburgh back in June of last year. And John Saka will be hoping to generate a little more offense than they managed first time out for the Admirals. A sack and a fumble in their 3 plays, and they give it to Ralph Dawkins, who is met and nailed immediately by Wilkie Bazile. Tremendous penetration again for the Scottish defensive front. The offensive line for the Admirals getting pushed around a little bit here, anchored by Big Jerry Crafts at left tackle and featuring Ron Lewis, Earl Scott, Ryan Leahy from the Cardinals, and Leonard Ray, fit again after a broken thumb from the New Orleans Saints. But a loss of about 4 yards on the play. Brings up second and long again for Amsterdam. And Saka takes a deep drop into his own end zone, goes upstairs, looks in the direction of Dedrick Smith, who would outstrip the coverage of Charles Swan, but had no chance of making the completion. The Scottish defense certainly making an impact early here. The front is Jason Simmons from the Rams, Wilkie Bazile, Brad Keeney from the Falcons, and Keith Poe, who's a real speedster on the outside.
Nick, I believe all those guys have made a play so far.
Yeah, we called their names. Very, very impressive start from the defensive front from the Claymores. Third and long. Saka in a passing situation gets hit, only just gets it off. Finds John Davis. Wilkie Bazile was there again. And Bazile is quite a handful here, and that was an incomplete pass. Davis did his best to pick it up, couldn't get it. And out comes the punting unit once again for Amsterdam. 3 and out.
Nick, early on, the Amsterdam offensive line is struggling. And I'm very surprised at all the pass attempts that Al Luginbill's trying. I mean, to take the pressure off that, you've got to be able to run the ball. And that's what he told us he wanted to do this year, is run the ball.
Not much evidence of it on the first 2 series. Demetrice Martin stands at midfield. The Claymores should get excellent field position again. Martin fields at the 43 and is nailed. But once again, Scotland will have excellent field position. Almost an identical place from where they started last time. The offensive line for the Scottish Claymores is huge and features quite a few players allocated from the National Football League, and 4 out of the 5 of them are 300 pounds or greater. Jim Kreiner really believes in a big, strong offensive front. There they are, Randy Bierman, then Joyce, Jeff Smith, Purvis Hunt, and Ron Florine, 2 of them from the Kansas City Chiefs, Joyce from the Cardinals. Ron Dickerson breaks a couple of tackles and will pick up about 5 yards before he's stopped. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 5. The defensive front for the Amsterdam Admirals features a couple of returning veterans in the middle. Mike Evans and Gary Howe were here before. The speedsters on the outside, Bronzel Miller and Roosevelt Collins. A gain of 4 yards for Dickerson brings up 2nd down and 6 for the Scottish Claymores. They stay on the ground again. Dickerson is met and may just have picked up a yard. Mark Lillibridge, the inside linebacker on the stop, will bring up about 3rd down and about 4 for the Claymores. Lillibridge from the Miami Dolphins, making a name for himself early on. The national player on this series is the very tough Masafumi Kawaguchi, and Trevor Wilmot has a lot of pace and a lot of aggression on the outside.
I tell you, Coach Luginbill and the players speak very highly of Masafumi.
3rd down and a long 4 to go for Dave Barr, who drops back, has some pressure, gets it off to Jared Kayahilo, who's got some work to do and will be close to a 1st down. And the spot he's been given suggests he may be very close indeed. In fact, I think he's got it from where they've just spotted the ball.
Great protection up front by the big guys, and that's really the heart and soul of Jim Kreiner's offense. It was last year, and it is again this year. Jim Kreiner is an offensive line coach. He was offered the head position of offensive line by the St. Louis Rams this past offseason. He turned it down to be over here.
The defensive backs, Ron Carpenter, the former New York Jet, returns to join Tommy Jones at the corner. O'Neill and Russell, the safeties. 1st down, Scotland. movement at the line from Amsterdam, but they stay on side, and Barr is in trouble and goes down, sacked by Larry McSeed, and a loss of about 9 yards on the play. Defenses continuing to dominate early here in Amsterdam.
Well, they had a little roll out there, and that's what Dave Barr is able to do. I mean, when he stands in the pocket and he sees some pressure, he has the ability to scramble, and he's fast. But they just didn't get the linebackers blocked up front. When you're talking about 300-pound offensive linemen, and then you're talking about a fast Larry McSeed's going to win.
As he did on that occasion. Big loss. Second down. Barr with time, with a lot of time, and once again can't get a receiver, and he's going to have to scramble and gets back to the line of scrimmage, and no further good coverage in the secondary from the Admirals. That'll bring up 3rd and 10. Barr said he'd be prepared to scramble if he had to.
And I think, again, I go back and I say, I think that's why he got this start. Spence Fisher started most of training camp, but Dave Barr had an excellent camp. And I think his ability and his footwork to sense what's going on around him in the pocket and his ability to scramble out of it is why he got the start early on. Jim Kreiner's a veteran coach. He knows early on offense is struggling, and Dave Barr can put him in position back to the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and 10. Barr gets pressure up the middle, finds a man. Kaihilo once again breaks one tackle. He's going to be well short of a 1st down. Now that's going to bring up a punting situation, or they may go for the field goal with Kari Groenroos. It's going to be quite a long kick for Groenroos around the 40-yard line, which is probably the limit of his range. In fact, the way they're spotting the ball, it's going to be around 42 yards for the Finn, who did kick a 54-yarder to win the Finnish national championship a couple of years back. And this will really settle this young man's nerves if he nails it. Mark Hartzell is the holder, and the kick is up and on its way from the Finn, and it's wide. So disappointment for the Scottish Claymores. We remain scoreless here in Amsterdam, and we're going to take another short break, and we'll be back in just a couple of moments.
Alan de Graffenried has been doing all of their long field goal kicking. The national kicker rule says they have to take the kicks inside 32. Gary Parker's been doing that.
But you had you guys had a twist on the left side.
And that's a feature of the World League that you're hearing right now. We're going to have the coaches mic'd up right through the season. Bill Marcy's hoping he learns one or two things here.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick a few things up. Jim Kreiner's trying to sort out some of the blitzes Amsterdam's running at him.
2 men in the backfield for the Admirals. Ralph Dawkins gets the carry, gets a bit of running room this time, and is met at the 35-yard line by James Logan, who came in and lowered the boom, but a pickup of 4 yards. Logan, very fast, an impact kind of player, and they like their linebackers. Eric Unverzagt from the Seattle Seahawks like Logan, and Robert Bass is on the outside. When Unverzagt is out, Emmett Waldron, the Irishman, is in, as indeed he is now. This is a national series. 2nd down and 6 after the gain of 4 from Dawkins. Penetration comes, but Dawkins has got a lot of running room ahead of him here, and gets past the defensive back, but doesn't get past the safety George Coghill, who came in and really was the last man between Dawkins and a lot of daylight. Coghill, one of 3 returning veterans. Israel Bird there, beaten by Dawkins' speed. Bird on one corner, Kevin Scott, a former Detroit Lion, on the other. Doug Terry and George Coghill are both hard-hitting safeties, very strong against the run. But a 1st down for Amsterdam, their first of the game, close to midfield at about their own 47-yard line. 3 wide receivers, 2 men in the backfield. And it's gone to John Davis, the H-back, who gets it to midfield, a pickup of around 3 yards. Jason Simmons in on the stop.
I think Amsterdam is finally settling down. They can realize, hey, to take the pressure off John Saka in the passing game, we've got to open up. We have to bust a few runs up the middle. We have to keep them off guard. You saw them go to the outside, then they come back with a quick hitting play to draw up the middle. Keep them on their toes. Don't let that pass rush get going and come after you every play.
Well, Amsterdam need a good sustained drive here. Dawkins just the man to give it to him. Bounces off the first guy and bounces forward for about 3 yards. Dawkins was a sensation in the first half of 1995 here in the World League, then tore up a knee that threatened his career. And they say he's come back hungrier, stronger, And Al Luganville says a better player.
And it was a total knee, too. It was all the ligaments in his knee were shot. It took him a whole 18 months to rehab it. And that's tough to come back from. And this guy doesn't look like he's lost anything.
Third down and a couple for the Admirals. Looking to break the deadlock. Here in Amsterdam, Dawkins runs into a brick wall and then pushes and plows his way forward and gets enough for the first down. Bit of power running from the former New Orleans Saint. That'll move the chains for Amsterdam.
One of the things I asked Al Luganville was, well, how do you become a power running team with 3 wide receivers and only 5 linemen? Well, how he does that is with their fullback. That's number 45, John Davis. John Davis is going to lead up on Emmett Waldron. See that push he gets on him? He stalemates the linebacker, and that's enough for Dawkins to just push his way forward for the first down.
And the ball spotted on Scotland's 41-yard line. Saka with play action, steps up, has a man, has a complete pass once again to Davis, who steps out of bounds. Israel Bird pushing him out at the 30-yard line, a pickup of 11 yards and another first down.
Well, that was the exact same play. It looked like the exact same run play, except Saka kept the ball, and John Davis went up 10 yards and got into the flat, and they faked the run, the same looking play, and then they passed the ball to John Davis. Nice play selection going on there by Joe Clark.
Well, the Admirals were very high on Davis. They said he could do everything. He can block, he's got good hands, he can run as well. Dawkins looking to turn the corner, runs into a bit of trouble. James Logan using that speed to bring him down for no gain.
Well, that time they tried a little run play to the left. Now, I want you to watch the right tackle pull. I want you to watch him pull. He doesn't get all the way around. He slips and falls. That's Leonard Ray. See, he's leading the play up, and then he slips and falls. Or else that would have gone right up the middle. Dawkins was forced to bounce it outside and string it out. And, of course, there's a host of Claymore defenders around him.
And a loss of a yard or so. They give it to Dawkins again, who is met in the backfield. Logan all over that play. And Logan making quite a name for himself in this series. We were talking to George Coghill last night. Billy said, watch out for James Logan. He can do things.
Yeah, we talked about the defense. Talked to the defense coordinator, too, Jimmy Carr. He says his speed is what really attracts him. The guy can run from sideline to sideline. And a lot of time, you know, in the NFL, that's what they're looking for, defenders that have that speed. Jimmy Johnson made the Cowboys Super Bowl champs with speed.
Third down and 15. Saka passes again. John Davis is wide open, has a lot of work to do, and can't get past Emmett Waldron, the Irishman, who comes up and made the play that he needed to make. And the ball is going to be at about the 30-yard line. And a fourth down coming up, and it's decision time for Amsterdam. This is a very long field goal attempt for a team that really doesn't have a recognized field goal kicker. Now, does Al Luganville go for it, or does he attempt a coffin corner punt? And indeed, he sends out the punting unit. Brian Greigert from the Carolina Panthers is on.
And that's what Greger's good at. He's good at putting the ball down inside the 10-yard line.
Low snap. Greigert picks it up. No rush. And he's angled it towards the corner. There's a man there waiting for it. And that's perfectly judged by Frank Temming, the Dutchman. And the Claymores have awful field position, and that worked perfectly for Amsterdam. Well, there's one or two slightly different rules in the World League to what you might be used to in the National Football League. As Al Luganville gets his team ready. Just a few little cosmetic things. The 4 points for a field goal of 50 yards or more have proved to be a game winner in the past.
I like the rule.
Yes, good rule. Definitely a good rule. And another one that Bill will like, of course, the defense can score a 2-pointer if they block an extra point attempt and return it all the way. There's a 35-second play clock, which speeds things along. And the receiver now needs both feet in bounds, so that's the same as the NFL. Last year, he only needed to get one in bounds. And Scotland start from deep. Barr gives it to Dickerson, who breaks through one tackle and then is met by a host of tacklers. Mark Lillibridge, first man there after a pickup of 3 yards.
Ron Dickerson is really a utility guy. This is his second year with the Claymores, and he played last year as a fullback, and then he spot played at tailback. He was on IR as of last week. We didn't think he was going to play, and then he starts the game today as a halfback.
Joe Murphy, the World Bowl MVP, is split wide to the left. We haven't seen much of the wide receivers for the Claymores yet, but there's Scott Cooper making his first catch and stopped by Ron Carpenter. Cooper has very little speed but has excellent hands and always seems to get open.
Scotty Cooper's really made strides. You know, 3 years ago when he was in this league, you look at him and you think, well, you know, this is what we're trying to do over here, get nationals involved in American football. But this kid is a bona fide player now. At the end of last year, he really came on strong, and now this year, he is in the rotation, not just because he has to be, because he's a good wide receiver.
Yeah, Jim Kreiner says he'll use him every time he can. 3rd down and 3. Whistles, flags, bar, still runs. They're going to bring this one back. There's a flag on the far side.
Illegal procedure. Ricky Brady, the tight end, jumped a little early.
Today's referee is Tony Correnti. Now let's get the official verdict.
False start. Gives the offense with the tight end. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That'll bring up a 3rd down and 8. You heard it from Bill Mast first. But really, Bill, when you consider how new and fresh these teams are, especially on offense, they've both made a pretty solid start in terms of not giving away penalties. It's the first one we've had. 3rd and 8 for Dave Barr from his own 5. He looks, he's got a man. It's Eric Smith who's got a first down. That guy has tremendous speed. Tommy Jones pushing him out of bounds at the 19-yard line, but a nice play from the Claymores and a first down in the dying seconds of the first quarter.
And now watch, Tommy Jones is playing off the ball. See how far of a cushion he gives to Eric Smith? He has to, because he is respecting Eric Smith's speed. You talked about it, Nick, what a fast, speedy guy, runs a 4.240. Coach Marty Schottenheimer of the Chiefs said he's the fastest guy he's ever clocked in the 50-yard dash.
Wow.
That's the end of the first quarter.
And talking of fast, that first quarter has flown by. And it's scoreless here in Amsterdam, but the Scottish Claymores will have the ball when we return. We'll take a short break, back in just a couple of moments. So who do you used to play for then? Typical Bill.
No, I saw him at the Van Gogh Museum.
A lot of culture in this city. First down, Dave Barr and the Claymores. He gets a man, Ricky Brady, the tight end, who looks to break a tackle and will be very close to a first down with Larry McSeed all over him. But that may well do it as far as moving the chains is concerned, and Ricky Brady's first catch as a World League player.
Dave Barr is a heady guy. Watch, he knows he was going to right off the bat. That's a 3-step drop. Ricky Brady gets out into the flat, catches the ball. You see where the ball was placed on the outside so he could just turn upfield, Nick. And that's what you want when you deliver the ball to the flat.
Dave Barr told us yesterday Ricky Brady is one of the most reliable guys on the team. And the extra effort there got the Claymores a first down to their own 29. On the ground they go for the first time. They don't get much. Mark Lillibridge was there to stuff that one.
Well, they were coming hard up the middle of that time. Mike Evans was in the backfield and just jammed everything up.
Jared Kaihilo, the ball carrier, as the crowd here at the Amsterdam Arena enjoys the action. Very passionate, these European fans. They get into it. And a 2nd and 9. Eric Smith is wide right to the left. Scott Cooper to the right. Barr pump fakes, goes upstairs, looks for Smith, the speed man, and it's incomplete. It was broken up by the safety, Robert O'Neill, who came over. Tommy Jones was in a bit of trouble, and O'Neill came over and broke it up.
Dave Barr had the right idea. He sets it up with a pump fake, buys his receiver time to get open, but he just puts too much air under the ball and gives Robert O'Neill, see him closing on the ball, he gets time to get over there.
Good job by the veteran, a 13th round draft choice in '95 for the Amsterdam Admirals. Barr's numbers so far, it was nearly a lot more. 3rd down and 9 for the Claymores. And they give it to Yo Murphy, who took his eyes off the ball as he was turning upfield, and any receiver in the world who does that, that's going to be the result.
Well, so far, Nick, we've seen a lot of blips on both sides of the ball. And that's why the defense, you know, usually early in the season does so well. Yo Murphy's ready, sees the open field. He knows he has 1st down, but first things first, Yo, got to catch that ball.
Spence Fisher, quarterback from the Miami Dolphins, will kick it away to Jeff Russell, who stands at his own 32-yard line. A guy they really like on the Admirals. Russell calls for the fair catch at the 41. Now it's Amsterdam's turn to get pretty good field position. And the Admirals, certainly on that last offensive series, Bill, seem to have got over some of their jitters. It'll be interesting to see what they do here.
Well, the reason they did that, Nick, is they ran the ball. And that's what Al wants to do. You have a little success running the ball, and then you get to your play action. And with John Saka and the little that he has played, last year he just played briefly, and Will Fuhr. So you have to protect a quarterback like that and pick his plays for him.
So Saka getting good field position to work with, but that defensive front of the Claymores has been coming after him, but Saka gets it off, and it's a completion. No, they're saying he was out of bounds. But that was close once again. Israel Bird getting the coverage on Darren Chandler.
I'll tell you one thing that was, even though it was out of bounds and it's going back to the line of scrimmage, that was a heck of a ball by John Saka. He laid that thing right where only Chandler could get it, right out over his right shoulder on the sidelines.
It wasn't far away from a completion, but incomplete it was. Chandler just couldn't bring it in, but Saka has another opportunity here, in a bit of trouble once again, and really in trouble, but gets away from the guys chasing him, and a smart heads-up play from John Saka gains 14 yards before Charles Swan, the nickelback, trips him up. And that's Amsterdam back in Scotland territory.
Well, the pressure comes from number 98, Keith Poe. And he's been bringing it all day. Watch the nice double move here. He never stops coming, keeps his feet, just has to wrap up. That's got to be one of the most frustrating things for a defensive lineman, when you have him in your grasp and he scrambles for a 1st down. Not only are you embarrassed, but now you have to go line up and play again.
He looked in a lot of trouble, Saka, there, but he kept his head. And now it's a chance for Brent Moss, who slips as he tries to make the cut. Ron Childs was there with George Coghill on the stop. And a flag comes in late. George Coghill, the veteran, arguing that that one's going to go against the Amsterdam Admirals, but we saw Brent Moss slipping over there. Bill, you said when we walked on the field earlier that it looked a slick field to you as we get the call from the referee.
Well, the field was slick, Nick. I'll tell you, I went out there and I saw it. It was their 5th field they've put in since August. They've had some trouble with the grass taking here. And the one thing I've noticed is that the grass isn't very thick. There's a blade of grass, and there's dirt, and there's a blade of grass, and there's a lot of space.
Personal foul, legal crackback block, number 88 on the offense. 15-yard penalty, repeat, 1st down.
That goes against A.C. Tellison, the wide receiver allocated from the Rams. And that pushes it right away back, 15 yards. Yes, they've got a retractable roof here in the Amsterdam Marine, which means they can cover it up if the weather's bad, but that also means there's not much sunlight actually gets in here, and the thinking is they're not getting enough daylight through for the grass to take. This field, incidentally, has come from Leeds in England, so this one should take. Saka with a lot of time, rolling out, and Keith Poe is after him again, and Saka just dangerous play at the end there, just chucked it away before he went out of bounds, but they're ruling that he went out of bounds, and Poe again applying the pressure, and Saka looks like he's hurt his hand. He's going back into the huddle, but definitely gave his left hand a bit of a thump there.
Number 93, Troy Bailey, gets the pressure. He gives up the outside containment. He has a spin move in his rushing, comes inside, and gives up the outside containment, and that allows Saka to just take off for the sidelines.
Troy Bailey played his college football at Oregon, 4 seasons there, the 1st round draft pick this year of the Scottish Claymores, and it's 2nd down and a stack. And really not too much doing there on the ground for the Amsterdam Admirals. Brent Moss, who was the first-round pick of the Admirals, picking up, well, maybe a yard if we're feeling generous, and that brings up third and about 25. Brent Moss, one of these two running backs that Al Luginbill said really had some potential.
I remember Brent Moss from up in Wisconsin with Barry Alvarez's Rose Bowl team. He was the MVP of the '94 Rose Bowl.
Third and a bunch for John Saka. He's got some time and has an open man. Moss with some work to do and is not going to make it. In fact, he's going to be about 10 yards short. Charles Swan and Demetrius Martin pushing him out of bounds.
Watch the job the offensive line does. See the hole? Can you see the gaping hole? John Saka sees it, steps right up, and is able to find receivers. And when you pass rush, you have to stay in your pass rush lanes. If you get out of those lanes, it gives an area for the quarterback to step up and see the entire field.
So here's Brian Greigert. Once again, Demetrius Martin falling for the fair catch and leaving it to bounce. And it goes out of bounds. Another good punt from Greigert, who will certainly be impressing the Carolina Panthers with that. Scotland once again pinned inside their own 5-yard line, and that's where they'll take over when we return.
This game, if it comes down to the kicking game, he definitely has the advantage.
Obviously, because Scotland's using 4 different guys kicking at various times. He's using just the 3, but he's got a good punter in Brian Greigert. And you remember 2 years ago, he had Darren Bennett, the Australian rules player who now kicks for the San Diego Chargers. Greigert's done what Bennett did for them in that season. He puts the ball inside the 10 whenever he kicks it, when that's what you want. I don't know how he does on getting distance and getting height on his long kicks, but when you have a guy who can find those corners for you, put the other team back with their backs to the wall, it's a great advantage for your defense.
And
Scoreless here in Amsterdam. Nick Halling with Bill Mars, but one guy who's caught the eye so far is this fella, the punter for Amsterdam, Brian Greigert. 2 excellent punts.
Yeah, giving them the short field, keeping Scotland pinned down.
Trouble for Dave Farr, but he gets out of trouble, but doesn't get an awful lot. Ron Dickerson found himself wrapped up by Larry McSeed and will gain only a yard, but Dickerson very close to giving, Barr very close to giving up a safety there. The pressure was on.
I'll tell you, I'm not a big fan of punters and kickers, Nick, but in a game like this, the way it's going, when you have a punter that can continually pin the other offense down inside the 10-yard line, it becomes a great advantage because something's going to break and you're going to have the better field position.
Second down for Dave Farr, who looks, swings it out, has Jared Kayahilo, who worked behind a blocker to pick up close to first down yardage. Trevor Wilmot and Mark Lillibridge eventually combining on the stop. And the key for Scotland now is that at least they've got out of the shadow of their own end zone.
One thing I've noticed about Dave Barr, and I mentioned this to you last night, Nick, after talking to him, is he's a heady guy. He really knows what's going on around him. Watch his poise in the pocket as it collapses around him. He has hands in his face, and he stays in there and finds the fullback, Jared Kayahilo, out in the flat, and gets a nice pickup of 8 or 9 yards.
But short of first down yardage. They need a long one here, and they pitch it back to Ron Dickerson, who's got a lot of blockers ahead of him, and Dickerson should be close to a first down. He only needed a yard or so. It looks like he's up close to the 15-yard line, and that'll be good enough.
Jim Kreiner sees his offense finally having a little breathing room. They've been pinned down there against the goal line. It's tough to work with when your offense is pinned down there with your backs against the wall. It's tough coming out. It's a big advantage to the defense.
So far, they're struggling to get that passing game of theirs on the move. We haven't mentioned Alan de Grafenried once, but I think they're going to throw towards him now. No, they've got a Ricky Brady, the tight end, who fumbles the ball. And he's hit by Larry McSeed, and it's recovered by Rich Jurkovic. And a disaster for the Claymores, but another super play for the Amsterdam Admirals. In fact, it was Mark Lillibridge who came in and picked it up after McSeed had forced the fumble. Lillibridge has been everywhere for Amsterdam.
Well, like I said, you try to get the bips worked out early. Brady brings the ball in, and he tucks it. And as he tucks it, Carpenter comes up and lowers his shoulder right on the ball. Now, Carpenter's been around, as we know. He's moved the Jets in '96. He's a veteran guy. He knows where to put his helmet, and he went right for the ball.
And Amsterdam have excellent field position now inside the 10. They give it to Brent Moss, who gets a couple more. That'll bring up 2nd down and goal. Emmett Waldron in on the stop. The ball spotted at the 7-yard line.
Nick, this goes back to what I was talking about with the punter. When something's going to break, you get the short end of the field.
Brian Dickerson is in to block for Moss. They give it to Moss again, and no blocking was going to work for Moss there because the Scottish Claymores read that one. Keith Poe, Troy Bailey in on the stop, Brad Keeney.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty impressed with Keith Poe. I mean, he's been everywhere. Since the first snap, when he put the pressure on the quarterback and sacked him, he's been all over the field, throwing his body around.
2 plays have gained just 1 yard for Amsterdam as Scotland's defense toughens up after the Ricky Brady fumble and the return by Mark Lillibridge. 3rd down and goal from the 8. Saka with some time and has a man once again. It's Brian Dickerson. Israel Bird judged to have brought him down, and George Coghill just there to make sure as well. That's going to bring up an interesting 4th down because none of these teams have a lot of confidence in their kickers, even though it really is close in.
But Saka gets the ball out, Dickerson in the flat. But he's met by Israel Bird. I mean, he was covered the whole way. He's down, obviously. He tried to get back up. And look at the hit. George Coghill is there to just make sure he knows you're not getting in here.
The pressure on for the Danish kicker, Oliver Quass, just 23 flags and whistles. There's a flag in the end zone. Oliver Quass has got a tremendous leg on him, Bill. We saw him in practice nailing 50, 60-yarders, but in game conditions, the mind thing starts to come in a little bit. All sorts of things go through his mind, and he doesn't need to see flags and whistles at this stage. He's got to think about it a little bit further, and it's a delay of game penalty as well, just to push it back a little bit further.
And a lot of times for kickers in that kind of situation, which you just described, Nick, thinking about it is the worst thing they can do.
28 yards, it's on the right hash mark. Quass with no problem with the distance, but accuracy once again the problem.
Yeah, like I said, thinking about it.
So neither of these two teams able to capitalize on their opportunities, but there is a flag down on the field. We'll be back in just a couple of moments after this.
You know, you look at the kicking game and the rules this year saying that the
flag that we saw just before we left went against the Amsterdam Admirals, which gives the Claymores the ball at their own 20-yard line. Murphy wide right, Cooper wide left. Murphy in motion. Barr with some time, looks, finds Jair Kaihilo, who picks up around 5 or 6 yards. That'll bring up 2nd down and 4. They're going to Kaihilo a lot.
What they ran there was a little crossing pattern, just something to confuse Ron Carpenter, the corner. They take Yo Murphy and bring him into the middle, bringing in the corner, and then they bring the fullback, Kaihilo, out to where he should be. So when the reception is made, it gives them a little room to pick up some yards.
They go with the 2 tight end set. Ron Dickerson tries to work behind it, but can't bounce off the tackle of Mark Lillibridge, and will be well short of 1st down yardage. They'll give him maybe a yard. Jeffrey Russell in on the stop as well.
I'll tell you, Nick, that really was a missed opportunity for the Admirals, being down there inside the 10-yard line, knocking on the door and coming away with nothing.
Yes, they may look back at that one. Both these teams have had an opportunity and it's been squandered. So 3rd down and short, a heavy mob comes in, including Nachi Abe, the Japanese tight end, and a big hole for Ron Dickerson, who is eventually tripped up at the last minute. Otherwise, he could have been gone for a huge gain, but as it is, it's about 6 yards, and another 1st down for the Scottish Claymores, who moved the ball to the 35-yard line.
Well, this play was all Ron Dickerson. The hole was filled. He comes up the middle. Now see, he sees Larry McShee, the fullback, in the hole, and he cuts back to the left. Man, that was great vision on the part of Ron Dickerson.
Good for a first down. Ron Dickerson Jr., that is. His father is the head football coach at Temple. Barr goes over the top as Yo Murphy, who picks up a first down, working against the coverage from Tommy Jones. But 11 yards for the World Bowl MVP.
Yo Murphy, first of all, watch the corner giving him some room. He gives him room, and Murphy takes that room and uses it. He goes up 5 yards, sits down, turns around, and then comes up and puts a few moves on. Yo Murphy's really matured as a receiver, and I think a lot of that came from working last year.
Well, Jim Kreiner says he's a real team leader as well. Barr with play action has a man. He's got the big tight end who is going to be very close to first down yardage. Mark Lillibridge on the stop, but Ricky Brady manages to pick up 9 yards and will doubtless be relieved that his fumble didn't actually cost his team anything in terms of points. But Jim Kreiner really mixing it up here. I think the Admirals are just off balance a little bit defensively. They don't quite know what's coming at them.
Well, I think that's important when you get your wide receiver in and your fullback and your tight end. You have to use all those guys.
Movement at the line. Gary Howe, the veteran, was first over, and immediately being an old veteran starts pointing fingers everywhere. You guys do that stuff, don't you?
Sure we do. I like the stumper. He knows.
Well, let's see if Gary Howe's number is called. It's 75.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
Well, Gary Howe knew what he was talking about. He started pointing the fingers. This guy's been around, played in the NFL for 2 or 3 years, been in the World League for 4 years. A guy who just loves to play and a real team leader. There's Gary, spent the year in '92 in Frankfurt. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, with Cincinnati, with Indianapolis briefly as well. And he says there's still a glimmer of hope that one day I might get back in the NFL. But
yeah, especially with the salary cap the way it is. Yeah. I mean, he is salary cap friendly, and he played 3 years for the Steelers. This guy has NFL potential.
6 yards for Dave Barr, who has a lot of time, but is getting chased here and gets rid of it. And a nice catch low down from Yo Murphy. That'll be short of a first down. But Barr scrambling and rolling to his right. He's certainly a mobile quarterback. Trevor Wilmot eventually stopping Murphy.
Watch Dave Barr. He sets up in the pocket, and when he sees it close, he just takes off. I mean, he knows when to stand in there, and he knows when to get out of there. And I think that's what I said before is what was so attractive to Coach Jim Kreiner. When you open up the season and your quarterback can do more than one thing.
Well, he told us yesterday the one thing I've really worked on is my mobility. It's paying a dividend for him here. And timeout call. The play clock down to 0. And the first timeout of the game called by Dave Barr.
That's a first team timeout.
But so far the passing game hasn't really taken off for the Claymores. We mentioned Alan de Graffenried as a huge threat. I don't think we've called his name yet.
Well, you know, it can still open up because, Nick, they're using so many guys. Like I said, they got the fullback involved in the flat. They're getting the ball to the tight end. They're hitting Yo Murphy. They're getting it outside. They're moving the ball around, so anything can break. And like you had mentioned, when Amsterdam is off balance, where are they going to go? Who are they coming at? It's not one fixed thing they keep seeing. It's all over the place.
A very good reason why both these teams want to win tonight, because the World Bowl format is such that the team with the best record after 5 games, they're going to host the World Bowl no matter what happens in the second half of the season. And as you can see there, the team with the second best record will join them, or the team with the best record after the 10 games if it's not the same team as after 5. So a fast start, absolutely vital. There's not too many teams that lose their first game and go on to the World Bowl. Now Barr on 3rd down and 4 gets some pressure, has his mobility again, and will do very well to get a first down here. And that is a gutsy heads-up play from Dave Barr, who looked like he was nailed behind the line of scrimmage, but has got about 8 yards and a first down before Gary Howe eventually wrapped him up. And Dave Barr has brought us to the 2-minute warning. We're going to take a short break. Back in just a couple of moments. Welcome back to Amsterdam, Scotland. First is the Amsterdam Admirals. Scotland in the blue and white. shirt. And it's the Claymores looking to break this deadlock inside the last 2 minutes of the first half. Dave Barr has done a good job, just spikes the ball. He was surrounded by 5 Admirals. And his decision-making for a young quarterback who's not played in 3 years, Bill, looks pretty sound.
And he remembered his last game, too. He said, I haven't played in 3 years. That was against UCLA.
And he said, we beat him as well. Had to get that one in.
But just talking to him, you know this kid is heady. And he has a lot more going on to him than just football.
Murphy and Cooper both go to the left side. Cooper in the slot. Murphy the wide out. Again, a bit of play action. Buys Barr some time, and Barr looks for Murphy and has him, and out of bounds. Murphy working Tommy Jones, and it's down to the 22-yard line. And that was a smart play. Murphy had Tommy Jones beaten all the way.
That was a beautifully thrown ball. I mean, that's when you're throwing the deep out like that, and that's exactly what that was, deep out. And he had to come, that's not to his side of the field. He had to come back across his body to the other side of the field. That was a beautifully thrown ball.
You know what I nearly said then? That gets him in the field goal range. But in this game, maybe not. But it does give them a first down as the clock continues to run. And Barr has a lot of time again, has a man. It's Yo Murphy again, who cuts back inside and gets past Lillibridge, and it's inside the 10 before Ron Carpenter pushes him out of bounds with 1:33 left. Scotland in excellent position to break this deadlock.
That time Yo Murphy lined up on the left side. See him, he's coming across the middle. He comes across the middle of the field underneath the linebacker. Then when he catches the ball, then not only did he beat the linebackers underneath, but then he faked out Mark Lillibridge, adding insult to injury.
Yo Murphy after that early drop, coming into his own 4 catches now for the World Bowl MVP. And they're coming after him, Amsterdam. But Ron Dickerson is going to be very close. Did he get in, or was he tripped up? No, just short inside the 1-yard line. And the clock continues to run, but there's no hurry for the Scottish Claymores, who send in Ricky Brady and the Japanese tight end Nachi Abe. They're sending in the heavy mob. Cooper comes out, Dickerson comes out. Well, Dickerson stays in, and it's Murphy that's coming out. And at the 1-yard line, it's 2nd and goal. Scotland looking for their first score of the 1997 season. Kaihilo and Dickerson in the backfield. 3 tight ends. The give is to Kaihilo, who goes in untouched. And the Scottish Claymores go on the board first. And a very impressive drive from the Scottish Claymores. Finished in some style. Nobody touched Jared Kaihilo.
Nobody had a chance to touch him. They ran right behind big Purvis Hunt, and that big body of his got moving, and there wasn't a blue shirt around to make a tackle.
And Gary Parker, a former rugby and soccer player, will attempt the extra point from Mark Hartzell's hold. A flag comes in, 2 flags come in. And a wobbly effort from Parker anyway, but they're going to have to play this one again. We'll wait for Tony Corrente's decision.
12 men on the field, on the defense, half the distance to the goal, retry.
That pushes it a little bit nearer for Gary Parker, who will take any yardage he can get to get it a bit nearer. The 12 men on the field rule, well, the decision against them rather, will infuriate Al Luganville. Gary Parker, 5'6", the smallest player on the field, but has played in a lot of pressure games, and a timeout has been called.
Scotland.
And the
second timeout.
So that gives us a chance to have another look at the Kaihilo touchdown.
Watch Purvis Hunt. See that big body right there? The right guard. Watch the push he gets. And Kaihilo goes in standing up. Look at the push on Willis, I'm sorry. 51 Larry McSheen shot the wrong gap. But when you're going to run, you might as well run over your big guy.
And they don't come much bigger than Purvis Hunt, who's listed at 383.
You know, it says in the press guide that Purvis, he likes to keep ham and cheese sandwiches and six-packs in his refrigerators at all times. And you know what? I believe him, Nick.
Yeah, and he says he likes to be called Big P as well. And when you're his size, you can be called anything you want.
What's up, Greenlee? Okay.
You're not going to get any arguments from me. There he is, allocated to the Claymores last year by the Houston Oilers. Didn't hook on with the Oilers, but he's the kind of player with the potential to get back in the NFL.
Yeah, you know, he's really gained some confidence through this World League, and that's what this is for, the development of players. And this year, he looks a lot more confident than he did last year.
And the Claymores go for the two-point conversion. And the pitch back is to Dickerson, and Dickerson is brought up just short. So the kicking game continuing to really cause problems for both these teams. Dickerson nailed just a yard short. Avo Abetizian, the Armenian defensive end, in on the stop as well. Players from all around the world here.
Well, this play is trying to get the power game going, but you see the Admirals defense is up, and they have that whole thing stuffed up.
It's a good stop from Abetizian, who did play some college ball. 2 games going on tonight, 1 going on tomorrow in London as well. The London Monarchs embarking on their new season with a traditional rivalry against the Frankfurt Galaxy. That's taking place at Stamford Bridge. A 3 o'clock kickoff. Bill Masters always accusing me of a London bias. It's very unfair, Bill. I just hope they win.
Exactly. Couldn't have been said any better, Nick.
But the Galaxy looking tough as well this year. Ernie Staunton, the wily old fox, always seems to have the Galaxy well prepared and playing tough.
They have Chad May as a quarterback down there for the Galaxy.
Steve Ballure backing him up as well, the old Dallas Cowboy. 5-year starter down there in Dallas. They're deep at quarterback. Now, Kari Gronrus, the Finn, will get things restarted with 50 seconds left in this first half. And Billy the Finn, as he's known to this team, kicks it to about the 12-yard line. Ron Carpenter is hit hard by Ron Childs, who came storming through. Carpenter is so dangerous on kick returns. He led the NFL in '95 while playing with the New York Jets in kick returns. And Al Luganville doesn't have a lot of time on his side in this first half. His team trailing by 6.
Yeah.
And the ball spotted at the 26-yard line. Saka remaining at the helm, just Dawkins in the backfield. They have 4 wide receivers out. Saka rolls to his right and may take off and stays in bounds as well. They'll probably want to call a timeout there to stop the clock. Troy failing applying the hit. In fact, they don't call a timeout. They're trying to keep things moving. And now they do. They're forced to stop the clock. Facing a second down and 4.
Amsterdam. First charge team timeout.
I think both these teams will have a few good things to talk about from this first half, but a lot of problems to iron out as well, Bill.
To me, the Admirals' biggest problem is the offensive line, or lack thereof it. They haven't been able to get the running game going very strong. Anytime Saka has dropped back to pass, he's had to take off running. And at that time, if he had just had a little bit more time, Diedrich Smith was wide open in the middle of the field, about 20 yards downfield. But Saka never had time to find him or set up to throw the ball.
So the Admirals with 26 seconds left in this first half and a couple of timeouts. They have the 4 wide receiver formation out again. Rashal and Smith are to the left. And Saka is looking in that direction, gets Lothario Rashal, who gets it out to the 41-yard line before he was stopped by Doug Terry. And that's good enough for a first down. But the clock continuing to run. And the ball spiked with 8 seconds to go, and a flag comes in.
Neutral zone and fraction.
Flags on both sides of the field, in fact.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 79 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
That's Leonard Ray, the right tackle allocated from the Saints.
By rule, inside 1 minute, Any action that prevents the snap by the offense will result in a 10-second runoff. We are inside 10 seconds. The half is over.
So Amsterdam probably faced a pretty long shot anyway, but the half has come to an end without him having a chance to go downstairs, and downfield rather, and it's a case of the Scottish Claymores holding a slender 6-0 lead here now. Joe Murphy and Eric Smith, the dangerous Eric Smith from the Kansas City Chiefs, as we wait for Oliver Kwas, the Danish kicker, to take his spot and get things underway. An undistinguished first half for kickers. All of them struggled. Defense is dominating the early stages as well. Still seems to be a bit of a problem. They haven't got a tee. I tell you, the kicking game is really struggling here. They haven't even got a tee for the guy. No wonder he couldn't kick off.
And what kind of tee was that you were referring to there?
A kicking tee rather than something I could use right now. A nice cup of tea. Oliver Kwas gets it underway. Smith and Murphy are back. Murphy is the man who calls for it at the 15 and fakes it to Smith, and Murphy's kept it and has a seam and gets it to the 40 and still on his feet past midfield, and it's Kwas that eventually puts him out, pushes him out of bounds. The second half beginning as the first half began with a long return, and it was Joe Murphy doing the damage.
Well, it was a short kick. It's received at about the 20-yard line. And Joe Murphy, they fake like they're going to hand off a reverse. But Joe Murphy keeps it, and some of the defense, the cover team, starts going with the fake. You'll watch them. See them start going left, and then there goes Murphy right. And it freezes them for a moment that gives them a seam. Now, one thing the kicker can do is he can tackle.
Barr fakes the handoff, and they've got a man with a lot of running room, and Ron Dickerson is going and going inside the 10 and down. Eventually Ron Carpenter and Robert O'Neill came over, but there were acres of space in front of Ron Dickerson there.
Another thing you're going to see on this play, Nick, is in the World League, your offensive linemen are allowed to release downfield early. They do not have to wait for the catch first. Watch number 70, the tackle, Rob Marie. He's already downfield making a block when they throw the ball out there, and that brings the whole thing up. See Marco Rivera, number 63, the guard? He's down there as well. So in the World League, your offensive linemen are allowed to release downfield before the pass is thrown.
And it brings up a 1st and goal at the 6-yard line. Scotland looking to build on that lead early in this second half. They've made some adjustments. Dickerson is dragged down from behind and will get no further than the original line of scrimmage before Trevor Wilmot stops him, brings up a 2nd down.
Well, that was a nice fill by Wilmot, the linebacker.
They like his speed, the Admirals. They say he's a guy who gets over from the outside very quickly, very quick, very aggressive.
Well, he sees the hole and he takes it right away. He wastes no time. See him in the fill? He's in the center guard gap, and he shoots it and takes it as soon as he sees it. And when you're down there and the yardage, you're backed up. I mean, you've got to fill.
Dickerson gets the ball once again, and there's nowhere for him to go again. He'll do just getting back to the line of scrimmage, and Trevor Wilmot is saying, haven't we met before somewhere? Quite a little personal duel that Trevor Wilmot and Ron Dickerson are having, and right now Trevor Wilmot's winning it.
Yeah, but it's always nice to have the other guy winning it when you're down on their 5-yard line.
Brings up a 3rd down and goal for the Scottish Claymores, looking to build on this 6-point lead early here in the Amsterdam Arena, the second half of this season opener in the World League. Dave Barr at quarterback, rolls out to his right and keeps rolling and keeps rolling. Can't find a man and has to just get rid of it. Pressure came from Tommy Jones. Now that'll bring up a 4th down, and they're sending out Gary Parker, the Scottish kicker.
We're going to see Scotty Cooper and Joe Murphy to the right of your screen. They're both going to run their patterns, but they're both covered. Now, Dave Barr's scrambling ability, he's trying to buy them time to get open. See him pump faking and trying to buy their receivers time. He knows he's out of time, and he does the smart thing and gets rid of the ball.
22 yards for Gary Parker. Should be a chip shot for the former rugby player. And flags come in. Once again, these kickers, these national European kickers, are being made to wait and sweat on these kicks.
Prior to the snap, illegal snap on the offense, number 93. 5-yard penalty, repeat, 4th down.
And that doesn't do Gary Parker any favors at all.
Well, that's their long snapper, Troy Bailey. He's a defensive lineman. He's over there just taking care of the long snaps for him, and they got to clinch that ball early.
The 22-yarder becomes a 27-yarder for Gary Parker, who's got the leg strength. But it's the accuracy that counts. It's very low, and it's wide again. These kickers, all of them, I think, are going to put this one down to experience. The pressure is getting to them. And good to see that the teammates are kind of rallying around these guys a little bit.
Jim Kreiner was concerned about his kicker.
So it means that the Amsterdam Admirals will take over at their own 20-yard line. No damage done. Now then, down on the sideline, we have the Deputy Mayor of the City of Amsterdam, Mr. Edgar Peer. And Edgar, I think the first point we should make is Amsterdam really is establishing itself as a sporting city, isn't it?
Yes, we do. Amsterdam has always been known as a city to do business in, but nowadays we also try to invest in our name as a city where to have leisure and sport activities, as you can see here in this beautiful Amsterdam Arena Stadium.
And how is the city of Amsterdam embracing this new sport, American football?
Well, the city is embracing it because we invest heavily, like I already said, in a stadium like this where they can play, but also the people invest. As you can see here, there are about 14 to 15,000 people watching the game, which is for our national standards a lot of people.
Well, I'm sure all the fans here are going to be hoping for an Amsterdam victory as we see an incomplete pass there to Darren Chandler. Tell me, Edgar, I know you're an expert on the game. Do you think Amsterdam can come back?
It's going to be tough because the Scottish Claymores were the best team in Europe last year. But in Amsterdam, we're always very optimistic. They train hard. Everything here, the whole atmosphere is there to win. So once again, we're optimistic. I give them a good chance.
Thanks very much indeed. I hope the season goes very well for the Admirals, Edgar, and thanks for being so hospitable.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Now, 3rd down for the Admirals. 3rd and long. And Saka gets pressure again. Has a man over the middle and a nice catch and brought down at the 31-yard line by Darren Chandler, who was waiting right at the 1st down marker. That's a smart heads-up play for Chandler because the Admirals needed it.
John Saka gets a little scramble out here, buying himself some time. Jason Simmons takes a spin, comes inside on the pass rush. Saka goes outside. He waits. Darren Chandler sits down in the zone defense, finds the opening, and amongst all the people around him is able to hold on to the ball for a 1st down. Nice job by Darren Chandler.
Joined the team as a free agent last year in week 5, went on to make 27 catches. And has been around the game a long time. He was in camp with the Chiefs back in 1990. I think you were still playing then, Bill. Ralph Dawkins just picks up a couple of yards there, or maybe just one if we're being a bit mean. Bill, you were still there in 1990.
Thanks, Nick. I think it was late years ago. Yeah, I remember playing with Darren Chandler. Fine receiver.
Nothing there for Ralph Dawkins. Nothing doing for this running game of the Amsterdam Admirals at all so far against a tough Claymore defensive front. 2nd down and 10. Saka gets pressure from Brazil once again and is now forced to get out of bounds. He was being chased hard by Jason Simmons and Keith Poe, who've been in his face all night long.
That time they were in their nickel package, and they had a man coverage on him. You see the guys all tied up, but watch Darren Chandler get past Israel. He gets past Israel Bird, and he's sitting there wide open in front of Doug Terry. Saka just never had time as he was closing in on that sideline. Just never had time to see him.
3rd down and 15. Saka gets some pressure, has to step up and gets rid of it, and it's nicely broken up by Dimitris Martin. They were looking for Ralph Dawkins. Martin just sneaked a hand in there and broke it up, and the punting unit is back on for Amsterdam.
You know, Nick, it's funny. Al Luganville told us, we've got to run the ball, we've got to run the ball, we've got to run the ball. If we're going to have 70 plays in a game, I want 40 of them to be run and 30 of them pass. I promise you, I don't know the exact totals, but it's no
Greigert, who's punted very well for the Admirals. They'll kick it away to Martin. Good high snap, a high kick rather, and Martin has to just call a fair catch. Masato Itai, the Japanese wide receiver, was the first guy down there in coverage, and the Claymores will take over on their own 33 when we return.
That's the area that the Scottish Claymores are going to have to find a way to fill that void. You know, Sean LaChapelle pulled them from behind a number of times, Nick, we saw last year in the World League. They have yet, this early in their 1997 season, to find a guy to go to for that.
Murphy's wide right, de Graaf and Reed wide left. Barr has a lot of time again. Now the pressure comes and he rolls away again. And scrambles for about 4 yards. He impresses me, this fella, Bill.
I like him. I told you I liked him yesterday, Nick. He's exuberant. He comes in, he talks to you. You can feel that this guy's going to make things happen. Now, what the receivers have to do is they know that he's scrambling around back there. When he starts that scramble, they have got to make a break for the end zone or to the open area of the zone. They have not yet done that.
Well, Dave Barr said, this is fun. I'm glad I'm here. I'm really enjoying myself.
You know, Mariucci was his coach at Cal, and that's why in January they picked him up as soon as he was named head coach of the 49ers.
Charge timeout.
Timeout call. So Dave Barr comes to the sideline to talk it over with Jim Kreiner. Timeout on the field. We'll take 1-2. Back in just a moment. Here in the Amsterdam arena. Bill, we were talking about Sean LaChapelle just a moment ago, but I mean, one of just 116 World League players that went on to play in the NFL last year, and the ties between the two leagues seem to get closer and stronger with each passing season.
It sure has, and it's really helped this league improve. I mean, all 30 NFL teams are represented this year in the World League. They all the owners and all the head coaches realize, hey, this is a good place to develop young talent. And a lot of these guys are going on to become stars. You have Paul Jestin. You have the quarterback of the Vikings.
Brad Johnson, the former
Brad
London
Johnson,
Runner.
and you know, that goes on and on. There's a lot of guys that are contributing to the NFL, and the World League's a big part of it.
Big third down. Trevor Wilmot trying to break up the pass, and it's a loose ball, and it's been recovered by the Scottish Claymores. Everybody had a piece of that one. Mark Lillibridge was on the hit. Marco Rivera, the left guard, very smartly covering the ball up, but another misfire offensively, this time for the Scottish Claymores.
Well, Steve Pappin just entered the game. We really haven't called his number. He hasn't been in much. Number 21, the little scat back. And he gets a hold of the ball, but as he gets it, Mark Lillibridge, number 52, the middle linebacker for the Amsterdam Admirals, was there to break it up. Nice heads-up play by the guard, Marco Rivera.
Jim Kreiner very high on him. Spence Fisher back at his own 10. Awful snap. And gets off a wobbly kick as a result. Jeff Fisher fields it. In fact, he decides to leave it alone. Demetrius Martin just shoves the ball forward 7 yards. And Amsterdam will take over at about their own 31, 32-yard line. And Spence Fisher really didn't have much chance for that kick at all.
Hey, Troy, don't think about it.
Well, this is how you can become a World League player. You can be allocated from the NFL. You can be a protected veteran like some players here are. Or you can be picked in the draft, which takes place in February. You can just walk on and impress a coach, which Bill Marsh tried to do a couple of times. Or you can be a European player as well. And just the standard of play at the European level really has risen alarmingly well over the last couple of years. There's some pretty decent players out there.
Here comes the blitz.
And they pick it up, and Saka goes downtown for Darren Chandler, but it's overthrown. Chandler will beat Israel Bird, but the pass too strong.
Darren Chandler is wide open. Saka had time too. I think he just got a little excited. I think he said, hey, there's my man. It's time. But he just overthrew the ball. It was a bad throw on Saka's part.
But the protection was good. The offensive line perhaps starting to gel a little bit now after that very slow start for Amsterdam. And that was nearly the big play that this stadium needs to set it alight. Saka again with a lot of time. Now has a man, John Davis, who's been fairly quiet after a bright start. Eventually tackled by George Coghill for a pickup of about 4. But Davis, you sense, is a guy that can do a lot of things for this team.
Well, Davis is a guy that's a tweener. I mean, with his height, he's about 6'3", 240. They line him up in the backfield. He plays a lot of fullback. He's listed as a tight end. But in all actuality, what he is a fullback in this offense. because he's a lead blocker, and then he comes out and catches the ball on the flat. And that's what NFL fullbacks do.
A pickup of 3 brings up 3rd down and 7. Saka with time once again and goes high, looking again for Darren Chandler. Israel Bird on the coverage, but no chance of a completion there. And it's 3 and out once again for Amsterdam.
And Amsterdam is falling into the trap that is exactly what Scotland wants them to do. Make John Saka pass. John Saka has not played last year. This is his first start. He's been out of it for a while. And the new offense, and they're not running the ball, Nick, which he said they wanted to.
Yeah.
And when they get caught up in him passing, that's exactly what Scotland wants.
We're not seeing much of those 2 running backs for Amsterdam at all. Dimitris Martin lets it bounce. And it's going to be down at about the 32-yard line. But there is a flag down in the Amsterdam backfield.
That's going to be holding on Charles Swan. He had Frank Temming held up. I believe he got a hold of his face mask. Offsides.
Which you may well have been right, Bill, but the officials didn't spot that one. Although there is another flag down in the Claymores backfield. Maybe that's what that one's all about. Now that one does go against Scotland. How do they work this one out, Tony Correnti and his crew? I think whichever team comes out of this one, Bill says a win is a win. But there's...
Yeah, it's sloppy. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, you're sitting there watching. This is some sloppy football right now.
Downfield to the front on the offense, number 64. Invalid fair catch signal on the receiving team. By rule, the invalid fair catch signal will be enforced from the spot of the foul. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Did you catch all that?
I did.
All right, Frank Leahy left early, took off running to cover the kick before the punt got off. That was on Amsterdam. That got waived because of the invalid fair catch signal. Scotland took the penalty. It's going to be first down there at 25. But back to what I was saying about the game. It's a sloppy game, but a lot of games, you think about your home team, NFL favorite team, their first games at the beginning of the season are sloppy, not very offensive. It takes a lot of time to get the timing down to run the ball and to pass it.
Defense is dominated, as you say. They with a play action once again. They find Dickerson in the flat. Dickerson, they've tried this play before. A flag comes in. Dickerson pushed out of bounds eventually by Trevor Wilmot, but a flag in the Claymores backfield.
Okay,
may bring this one
I
back.
got this one. It's number 70, Ron Florine. He had the vice grips on Robert O'Neill. Grabbed the safety and just dragged him down to the ground.
And it is a hold against the Scottish Claymores. You see, you may have been right on the last one. They just did. They missed it.
Thanks, Nick.
Holding on the offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
And that, in many ways, is more like a 35-yard penalty because it takes off a 25-yard run from Ron Dickerson.
Watch number 70 come into your screen. He's leading out in front on the screen play. Now, the safety comes up. When he engages the safety, Tommy Jones, he pulls him down to the ground.
That's twice they've run that little short pass in the flat to Dickerson, and it's paid off for them, even though it was negated by a penalty. Now Barr goes upstairs looking for Smith, who's overrun the pass. Pretty good coverage there from Tommy Jones. And that'll bring up a second down at about 17 for Dave Barr and the Claymores.
Well, the reason that ball was a little underthrown, Nick, was because Dave Barr was the recipient of a nice shot after he got rid of this thing. And he knew he was going to take that shot, and he didn't have everything. He didn't put everything he could put on that ball. That's why it was thrown short.
Ronnie Woolfolk applying the hit. Played some football for the Frankfurt Galaxy last season. Well, Luganville said, I can't believe they didn't protect him. That guy's a good pass rusher. Dave Barr won't argue with that. The pressure comes again, but Barr manages to just step up and take off, but has a lot of work to do and is pushed out of bounds short of the first down mark. Lillibridge staying at home. He's going to be close to the first down. In fact, I think he may have got it.
That's all right.
Well, there's pretty good coverage downfield by the Amsterdam Admirals. Take a look at the coverage in the field. The receivers go out. There's not really a receiver open. When Dave Barr sees that, he takes off running. He's the leading rusher in the game, Nick.
Easily. And he knew exactly where that first down marker was as well. I thought he was just short, but he knew where he was. Stepped out of bounds after a first down. They give it once again to Dickerson, who can't turn the corner. Trevor Wilmot was there, and the job was finished off by Jeff Russell coming over from safety.
Another guy having himself a good game is Ron Dickerson. Maybe not statistically with all the yards, but when he has gotten the ball in his hands, he has made things happen. I saw him pick some holes that were clogged up. He picked the right seam. Down here on the goal line, there was nobody there. He pushed it down to the one. Right there, it was an off-tackle power play outside. There was nothing. He found a way to pick up a few yards.
So that brings up a 2nd down and 9 after the 1-yard gain from Dickerson. Avo Avatisian, the Armenian, is in the game and trying to apply some pressure there and may get in on the tackle, and does, with Trevor Wilmot in support. And not much doing there for Dickerson, and good to see Avatisian, this Armenian who's played a bit of college ball, getting involved in the game again.
Watch number 90. This is a nice job. I mean, here's a guy that's got knocked down to the ground, gets up and hustling. And there's nothing more you can ask of your national players than hustling.
Well, another guy who is really making a contribution. Remember, a national player has to be on the field 50% of the time, and Avatisian from Armenia making the most of his opportunity. That's a couple of times we called his number tonight. Barr goes over the middle, has Yo Murphy wide open. First down inside Amsterdam territory.
When you have 3rd and 12 or 13, you know it's going to be passed. Now, Amsterdam is in a 2-deep zone. Now, what Yo Murphy does is he finds the cushion behind the linebackers and underneath the safety. See that hole? And there's nobody there. That's the hole in the zone. And Yo Murphy knows exactly where that is. He got there. Dave Barr found him.
And a big conversion for the Scottish Claymores. They lead it 6-0. Barr with the quick pass. Scott Cooper picks up his 2nd catch of the game. That's the colour chemistry graduate from Strathclyde University in Glasgow. Had 12 catches on the season last year, 2 already in this game. Ron Carpenter on the stop. And Cooper, we just saw Avo Avatisian making his contribution. Each of these teams has at least 7 nationals on, and they've got to be on the field 50% of the time and all the time on special teams play. And I remember just 2 years ago, Bill, most of them were passengers. Not too many passengers around with these Europeans now. They really have come
all
on.
these guys can play now.
3 yards for Cooper. 2nd down and 7. Barr with time, with a lot of time, goes over the middle, finds Ricky Brady, who's got an ocean of space, but tripped up from behind by Mark Lillibridge. Otherwise, Brady was gone. It was still a pickup of about 17 yards. And they're starting to find some holes in this Admirals defense now.
Well, they're finding some holes, but the guy that's finding all the holes is Dave Barr. Yeah, that you've had some nice catches and a couple nice runs, but Dave Barr is the guy that's made it all go. He's gotten the ball to the receivers, to the tight ends, to the fullbacks in the flat. He is the guy right now for the Scottish Claymores.
A very impressive start this from Dave Barr. He pitches it back. They try and establish the run. Ron Dickerson finds himself a lot of running room and gets down inside the 10 again, where he is gang tackled. But more damage done. Masafumi Kawaguchi, the Japanese linebacker, was there. Roosevelt Collins, Robert O'Neill eventually helping to bring him down as well. But another huge gain for the
Watch
Claymores.
number 35, the fullback, Jared Kaielo, lead this play. He gets on Trevor Wilmot and just blows him out of the hole. Wilmot was in there. He was high. He was standing up. Kaielo put his helmet right in his chest and just drove him out.
And it's 1st down and goal. They've got to go the whole 10 yards. The pitch back is to Steve Pappin, his first carry as a World League player, and it's not a good one because Trevor Wilmot read it all away and broke it up with some help from Bronzell Miller.
It's the same play to the other side.
As an Admiral player slow to get up, it is Wilmot, and they could ill afford to lose him. He's been very impressive tonight. Standing up now, looks like he's going to be okay. But Al Luganville, virtually the first guy out there to make sure that his linebacker is indeed all right.
Ronnie!
Sit out at least one play. They may have given Papin just a yard there.
This is a big series right here for Amsterdam, Nick, because they know they're having trouble offensively. They've got to keep them out of the end zone if they want to have a shot at winning this ball.
Movement in the backfield for Scotland. Dickerson flaring out. Barr with a lot of time. Has a man. Dickerson's got it inside the 5. Brought down by Mark Lillibridge. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 5. Well, they've really got to think end zone here. There's Trevor Wilmot getting some attention on the sidelines. And another quarter of play has flown by with the Scottish Claymores knocking on the door. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with the 4th quarter in just a couple of moments.
Points, because a touchdown to the other end of the field, you could lose the game.
Yeah, and a field goal, you're right, Bill. A field goal here means that Amsterdam will have to score twice to win it. But will we get a successful kick here from the Finn? It's already failed from 42. It's certainly high enough. And at long last, we have a successful field goal. And Gary Groenroos celebrates as if he's just kicked the Super Bowl winner. And who can blame him? It's his first kick as a professional, and it gives the Scottish Claymores a 9-0 lead here in Amsterdam. Ron Carpenter it is who takes the ball back over the 23-yard line. They've done a very, very good job containing him after that initial one that he took back about 35 yards.
It was Robert Flickinger, a national player. That's his 2nd tackle on kickoffs. I mean, there's another national. That's what you want from these guys. You want effort from them.
And it was a national player that wrapped up that scoring drive, a 22-yard field goal from Gary Groenroos, who celebrated in some style, I might add. And it's put the pressure on the Admirals, who have less than a quarter now to score twice, and frankly, they haven't looked like scoring yet. Can John Saka come up with something? He's looking for Dedrick Smith, and can't find him. There was coverage from Doug Terry, but Saka and his receivers just not quite on the same page tonight.
No, and that ball almost was picked off by Doug Terry. But see, what happens now is when Scotland knows that they're going to throw the ball, and their pass rushers can just line up and come after him. Well, watch the hit Saka takes here as he gets rid of the ball. That's Keith Poe, and he's been rushing the passer like that all day.
2nd down, they do have 2 men in the backfield, but they're passing once again. Saka goes upstairs, has a man this time, and it's a completion to A.C. Tellison for a 1st down. We thought pre-game Tellison was going to be potentially a huge factor in this game. That's his 1st catch.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. I mean, I think the kid's a very good player, talented player. I mean, he's been around the NFL as well. He's allocated by the Rams. But what happens here is he loses George Coghill. He gets right behind George Coghill, number 34, put a move on him, and then Saka was able to find him over at the sideline.
And I think that is the first time they've thrown to Tellison tonight. I can't remember him missing any, or him being the intended receiver. Back on the ground, Ralph Dawkins is getting nothing out of this front line. Nailed and stuffed. George Coghill came up from safety, read it all away and said, "You're going nowhere, Ralph."
If there's one thing George Coghill can do, it's hit somebody. He may not be the greatest cover safety in the world, but this guy can hit somebody. Watch number 34 come into your picture and wrap up Ralph Dawkins. And he's right up there around the line of scrimmage like a linebacker. I think, honestly, he likes it up there better.
He loves it. 2nd down, Saka passed. Keith Poe got double teamed out of that play, but Saka goes back across and finds his tight end, John Davis, who found himself wide open for a 15-yard pickup. Larry Williams and Israel Bird eventually combining on the stop.
Excellent coverage on the play by the Scottish Claymores. Watch. Everybody is covered up. 45 is down to the right side of your screen. He's in there acting like he's blocking. Then when he sees that everybody's covered, he gets out into the middle of the field. Good awareness by John Davis.
And the Admirals have moved it to the 44-yard line. Saka rolling out to his left. Gets it off as a man once again. A.C. Tellison coming up big when the Admirals needed something. And they beat Coghill in coverage. And it's another 1st down, 21 yards. And Amsterdam's offense at last coming alive for Al Luganbill.
And I think, Nick, that's the guy they need to get involved in their offense if they want big things to happen. I think he is their best receiver. He's a big target. He's fast. He has good hands. He can get open. He can find him. He's a smart player. He'll find the hole out there.
First down, there's a Japanese receiver in wide right for the Admirals, Masato Itai. Saka is going to take off on his own and gets good yardage. Will be very close to first down yardage. Coghill was there to wrap him up eventually.
Well, what they did there is they used Masato Itai to stretch the field. He took Israel Bird down into the end zone. Now Saka sees that there's an open side of the field there. And he rushes up there and gets what he can out of it before he meets George Coghill.
Coghill ankle tapped John Saka, which is probably good news for John Saka, because if this fella hits you shoulder to shoulder, you're going to feel it. Second and short. Saka goes upstairs for Tellison, and it's broken up. Big play from Kevin Scott, a former Detroit Lion, and he needed to come up with that one.
Yeah, that was a blitz. They had man-to-man coverage around the field. And if you want to go man-to-man coverage, you want a guy like Kevin Scott and Israel Bird. And that's what, see the coverage at the top right of your screen? That's what Jim Kreiner was talking about earlier in the game, that he now has the athletes defensively. They can do a lot more things. When you got good corners you can cover man-to-man, you can blitz.
Whistles go. And we'll have to see if they're going to call that one back or not. It could have been a whistle in the crowd. They were short on third down. In fact, it was a whistle in the crowd, so that's going to bring up fourth down after the loss on the play.
Charge timeout, Amsterdam.
And Amsterdam call a timeout. And really, they've got to go for it on fourth down from here. We'll see what they do after this. We're going to take another short break. Back after this. Oliver Quast, the Danish kicker for the Amsterdam Admirals, really needs to convert this field goal of 32 yards to get his side into the game with 10.5 minutes left. Bill Mars, you're thinking fake here.
I would think fake, but you got to get your kicker some confidence. And with a field goal here, and then you still have a shot of tying the game with a touchdown or winning it with a touchdown.
Well, he's certainly got the leg strength. There's no problem there, and he's got the accuracy this time. And good to see these kickers starting to settle down at long last. We saw Kari Grunru's kick a 22-yarder. Oliver Quast, no problems at all there with a 32-yarder. And we have a ball game here at 9-3 in the fourth quarter, and it's boiling up to quite a finish here.
It's working right down. It's right into their hands. Amsterdam is one touchdown away from taking the lead. That missed PAT on the penalty on the PAT with Scotland, and the missed 2 points could end up on them.
On the reverse, 83 is going to carry it. Make sure that we stay on the ball. Okay? All right, here we go. Come on. Hit on three. Hit on three. Hit.
You heard Al Luganbill talking about don't bite on the fake reverse.
You know, nobody puts more work into special teams in the World League than this man. There's always something in the box of tricks, and we haven't seen too many tricks from him tonight.
Well, you know, I don't think they want to get into the tricks right now because they're having a hard enough time working out all the kinks they have in their regular offense.
So 10.5 minutes left for Al Luganbill to christen the Amsterdam Arena with an Admirals victory, or for the Scottish Claymores to make a very bright start in defence of their World Bowl Championship. Oliver Quast picks it off. Murphy and Smith are the deep men, and it's going to be Eric Smith who fields at around his own 8-yard line. They fake to Murphy. Smith keeps it and is just stopped and slowed and then nailed at about the 29-yard line, where the Scots will take over, or continue rather. Well, next week coming up, Frankfurt versus Amsterdam. That's always a tough rivalry. The Scottish Claymores host the Barcelona Dragons, and the London Monarchs visit the Rhine Fire. That's the game you and I will be doing, Bill.
We'll be down in Dusseldorf.
Worth pointing out, I think, perhaps for our American audience, that here in Europe, it's the home team that is listed first, rather than Amsterdam and Frankfurt. We put the home team in there first, which is a different way of doing it. Confuses one or two people.
I've been confused ever since I've been over here.
I know. And the home team on top on the Fox box as well. Now, first down, Claymores. Dave Barr with a lot of time and has a man It's Eric Smith who is pushed out of bounds at the 42-yard line by Ron Carpenter, but that's a gain of 13 yards, and they'll move the chains, and Barr looks very composed.
Well, even a veteran like Ron Carpenter respects the speed of Eric Smith. Eric Smith runs the dig route right at him, sets down, and comes back. Dave Barr knows what he's running the whole time. And see, they gave Ron Carpenter, number 21, gave a cushion there. And the dig route is where you just take off right at the defensive back and get him backpedaling, then sit down on it and turn back to the quarterback.
Dave Barr very accurate tonight. Not too many flashy stuff. Flag comes in, and the ball takes a one-hopper into the hand of Alan de Graffenried.
It's going to be offside.
Collins putting some pressure on. Sorry, but
Offside against number 59, Ronnie Woolford.
Offside on the defense, number 59. 5-yard penalty.
I'm impressed.
Repeat first down.
I missed a couple. Well, actually, they did.
Yeah, they missed it. I was going to say, you got it. Just because they missed it. And Ronnie Woolford, the pass rusher, just a little bit too anxious there, and he can tack 5 yards on for the Admirals defense to defend here. Brings up first down and short for Dave Barr and his team. Barr over 200 yards tonight. A very impressive debut. De Graffenried is wide right. They go on the ground to Kaya Elo, who doesn't really get very much at all. In fact, will be stopped probably for a loss. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage at best. Mark Lillibridge in on the stop with some help from Cedric Figueroa.
It's about his 10th tackle. I'll get it out here in a second. Cedric Figueroa, he started last year for the St. Louis Rams.
Oh, he can play, this guy. The salary cap beats him, really. De Graffenried is wide to the right. They've got Murphy and Smith to the left. Murphy goes in motion. And Barr just with a little flare pass to Dickerson. This has been productive for them. And it picks up about 3 or 4 more yards there before he's tackled by Jeff Russell. I'm so surprised that they haven't thrown it in the direction of Graffenried. It's not like he's dropped things or made mistakes. They just haven't thrown anywhere near him.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. They brought him in to help fill that void left by Sean LaChapelle. And I'm not sure whether maybe Dave Barr, I mean, this is his first year with the team too. Maybe he hasn't got comfortable with him yet, or maybe his number just hasn't been called because the ball's been dispensed everywhere else, but it has not gone to the Graffenried.
That's deprived us of an interesting little rivalry, which we'll hopefully tell you about after this play. If Dave Barr converts it into a first down, the tackle comes in number 75, but it's not. It's Gary Howe, in fact. Stumpy, number 75, trying to nail Dave Barr, but in a foot race, Gary Howe and Dave Barr, Barr is going to win.
Well, here's de Graffenried, and he's going to run a crossing route, but watch him run right into his own receiver. I mean, maybe that's why he's not getting the ball. Maybe he's having trouble with some of the plays. I mean, he runs right into Ricky Brady, the tight end.
They're calling for a measurement here. And Alan de Graffenried, we thought his duel with Ron Carpenter could be very interesting tonight. The two of them are good friends. They live just a couple of miles apart. We think their wives are watching tonight's game together. And Dave Barr has been tripped up short by Gary Howe. And decision time for the Scottish Claymores. And they're sending in Cedric Saunders, the tight end, and Jared Kaiahilo, the big blocking fullback. See, de Graffenried can produce, as those figures prove, as the heavy mob come in for the Scottish Claymores. They're going for it.
Yeah, him and Carpenter were friends. They went to the same high school. They grew up together about a mile apart. And Alan was actually in Ron Carpenter's wedding. Imagine you have it like all in the family going there, and then you have to line up and go do battle with one another.
Well, there's going to be a battle at the line here. 4 and a few inches, and Barr on the keeper looks like he's got plenty. Cedric Figueroa was there, but Barr must have picked up a couple there. Tremendous push by that huge offensive line for the Scottish Claymores.
They're the big guys up front.
Well,
Jeff Smith and
Jeff
300.
Smith, yeah, he's paid the price here, the center from the Chiefs.
35 pounds. Matt Joyce. Big Purvis Hunt. Look at the push Smith gets. And that's a pretty good form tackle, too. Now, see, that's a crafty offensive lineman. He's going to get the push, and then when he's gone down, he's going to make sure he takes somebody down with him.
But a timeout has been called because of the injury to Smith. As he gets to his feet, we're going to take a quick timeout ourselves. Back in just a moment.
And they lead the Ryan Fire by a score of 27-9.
Go Dragons.
Yeah, Jack has been doing well, but still for Galen, it's still a struggle.
It's going to be, and I think it's strange because watching him, the offense looked just the same as it did last year. He likes that short possession game, and you get the feeling sometimes you live by the short game and you die by the short game.
Nick Halling and Bill Mast here in Amsterdam. The Claymores leading the Admirals 9-3, 7:45 left in the ball game. The good news is Jeff Smith left under his own steam.
Got a little stinger. The Chiefs have big hope for him. They got him over here to develop. They think he's their center of the future.
Marco Rivera is in the center at the moment, and Barr tries to take off and gets very little, and a loose ball, and it's recovered by the Admirals, is it? Looked like Mark Lillibridge may have been the first man there, but did Ron Dickerson come and take it off him? He did. Big play by Dickerson.
Number 51, Larry McSee, the linebacker, was in a blitz, and he got to Barr first. See if we can find number 51 in this end zone picture. He is right here. Now watch him on the blitz. He's taking off at the snap of the ball. He's coming around the corner. He gets upfield. Now he starts working his way back. When Barr steps up, you see the strip. And a nice heads-up play by Ron Dickerson.
And they go on the ground once again. And the ball out again, but they're saying it was down by contact. Ron Carpenter has recovered it, but they're saying it was down. Jared Cahill coughed that one up as he landed. But they're living dangerously here, the Claymores.
Trying to run the power to the outside. Ron Dickerson gets the ball. Now watch. His knees are going to be down when the ball is out. And that's the key thing the official looks for. And they were clearly down there.
3rd down and 6 for the Claymores. Protecting this slender, narrow 6-point lead. Barr with a lot of time. Goes over the middle. Can't find his intended receiver. Looks like Yo Murphy, and the ball just bounces harmlessly into the end zone. And Spence Fisher and the punting unit come on, and with 6:11 left, Amsterdam not out of this by any means.
Watch the reaction by Dave Barr. He's mad at himself. He knew he had a shot of getting Yo Murphy the ball, but he threw the ball behind him.
Jeff Russell waits at his own 10-yard line. Fisher just gets it off. The pressure came from Dedrick Smith, but Russell will try and bring this one back, and is tripped up. Can't get anything at all. The Scottish Claymores were there. Ron Childs, who performed well in special teams coverage for the Claymores tonight, was there to trip him up, but a flag.
Holding against the Claymores. They're going to take that. Amsterdam is going to take that penalty, back them up even further, and hope for even better field position.
Well, I don't think anybody could say this has been an offensive festival that we've seen today, Bill, but it is boiling up into an interesting, very interesting finish, as the offense is finally getting to a little bit of sync and defenses lose that stranglehold. We saw Amsterdam move the ball in their last series, and they're going to have another opportunity with 5:44 remaining and trailing by just 6. It's getting very interesting here in Amsterdam. Back in a minute.
Champions here in the last 5 minutes of the game.
And Jim Kreiner's got to be regretting a little bit that he doesn't have a specialist punter, I think, because Spence Fisher has hurt them a bit by not being a first-class punter.
All right. What inside do you feel best about?
The usual fun and games in downtown Amsterdam, a city that's always got something to say for itself. And it's going to be lively there tonight as well, I'm sure, especially if Bill Mars gets
now
down there.
for its social activity.
I think that's a delicate way of putting it, Bill.
Oh, he had a change in the penalty. It wasn't against Scotland. I was wondering why Amsterdam wouldn't take the penalty. It was against Amsterdam. They marked it 10 yards from the spot of the foul for holding.
Which means John Saka is going to get nailed inside his own 5-yard line. Storming in there was Keith Poe, who met Saka one-on-one.
He's having a well of a ball game, too. I mean, from the first snap of the game, Keith Poe has been in and around the ball all the time, on almost every play. He's at the left side of your screen. He's coming in from the top. Watch the nice wrap-up on Saka.
Yeah, Guy had a couple of years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2 or 3 years with the British Columbia Lions up in Canada. Been around the game, knows it well. And Saka now has to throw from his own end zone, and the pressure comes, and he gets rid of it. But a nice tackle there, so it won't be much of a gain. Charles Swan all over the receiver, and that's going to bring up 3rd down and long.
That was so dangerous, what John Saka just did. I mean, he threw off his back foot, across his body, across field. Made the completion, but when you're throwing across all those bodies, especially down there in your end zone, that could have easily been picked off and walked in for 6.
3rd down and 12. This is a big play for Amsterdam, with the clock continuing to run. They show blitz but drop, and Saka's in trouble again, and only just manages to get it off. And another dangerous play, and it's Coghill on Dedrick Smith breaking it up. And John Saka was running out of room in a hurry, and you kept his head to get rid of it, but that was so close to a sack.
Well, early on, it looks like Amsterdam's problems were right where they left off last year, and that's in their offensive line. And look, there's just people all over John Saka. That was number 38, Kevin Scott, on the blitz.
But meanwhile, in the end zone, Keith Poe is still down and receiving treatment. So another opportunity goes begging for Al Luginbill, who knows that the clock is against him now. But his defense has done a pretty good job with this Claymores offense. Dave Barr notwithstanding. Dave Barr has been the wild card factor for Scotland tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah, Dave Barr is what's made it happen. I mean, he is what put them in a situation to be on top right now by his ability and his headiness of what's going on around him at all times. He sees the whole entire field. He knows when to stay in the pocket. He knows when to run. What's that song? He knows when to fold them, knows when to hold them. And the gamble. Yeah. Well, that's him. That's Barr.
Is that a country song, Bill?
Yeah, you wouldn't know anything about that.
I certainly would not.
Sid Vicious.
Now
Sid Vicious sang it. You'd know it.
Dave Barr hasn't played in 3 years, but he's played like he's never been away tonight. Those are numbers that any NFL quarterback can take. Snap, and taken right back in his end zone by Brian Graegert. And there's a flag down as Smith attempts to use that speed and gets it back to the 35-yard line of the Amsterdam Admirals. They've done a pretty good job keeping Emmitt Smith quiet. That's right, Emmitt Smith, Eric Smith, I should say. But there is a flag deep in the Amsterdam.
I think they're going to be called for leaving early again.
Certainly looks like it's gone against Amsterdam. It's just more problems for Al Luginbill and his team.
Did you say Emmitt Smith was here?
I did say Emmitt Smith there. I meant Eric Smith. They're very similar.
Ineligible receiver downfield on the kick, number 59.
Who's Emmitt Smith?
Refused. First down.
So the Scottish Claymores, with 4:14 left, have the ball at Amsterdam's 36-yard line. They have a 6-point lead. And Al Luginbill knows his defense has to make the stand here.
Well, they need 3 and out right now.
12 and on the field. There's going to be a flag there. Larry McSee tried to get off and couldn't, and Ron Dickerson will pick up 9 yards.
There was 12 men on the field. Larry McSee, number 51, was trying to get off the field, but the ball was snapped before he was
He was
to the
nowhere.
sidelines.
He wasn't even close.
And it's penalties like that that really eat at a coach. Now, you know your timing's not going to be there early in the season when your runs and passes, but it's the things like that and the illegal man downfield on the punts, it really eats at a coach. He's going to go back tomorrow morning.
12 men on the field on the defense. The penalty has been refused. Second down.
Well, of course, you refused that penalty because you had a pickup of 10 yards. Well, 9.
Al Hugenbill, I'm sure, will have some fairly choice words for one or two players at their next film session. Nobody motivates players better. Yo Murphy, wide left. Scott Cooper, the Scotsman, wide to the right. And Barr on the keeper just tries to push and shove his way close to a first down, needed about a yard. Could be an official when you try and make a spot there. Looked like he got it. The Scottish Claymores really starting to exert a little bit of a stranglehold on here. Amsterdam with 2 timeouts left. The clock continuing to run. 3:40 to go. They've got a first down, the Claymores. All they've got to do really surely is just control that ball now, which is something Amsterdam have tried to do all game, and it hasn't really paid off for them.
We go back earlier in the game and you think, well, where could we have done better? And glaring at you is the missed field goal opportunity.
De Graafreed is in the game to the right. Cooper has gone to the left. Dickerson and Kyahalo in the backfield. It's Dickerson who gets the ball and turns the corner once again. Great blocking up front, and Dickerson could go. Touchdown Scotland. A tremendous block from Jared Kyahalo. Sprang Dickerson, and he took full advantage. And Al Luganville knows he's in deep trouble now. And Ron Dickerson has worked hard tonight, and he deserves that touchdown.
He does. It was a nice run. It was a nice block by Kyahalo, but most important, it was a nice call. Because what happened was Jim Kreiner knew that they were going to try to blitz to stop the run. And he caught them blitzing all up into the middle. And they bounced that ball outside on the power.
Grunroos will attempt the extra point. And even that's coming off for the Scots now. A 16-3 lead. And Carrie Grunroos, the Finn, has settled down after a very nervous start, and Ron Dickerson.
I want you to watch the linebackers that are going to shoot in here. Now what happens is they get all bunched up inside. They're all bunched up inside. Now watch the power play take off outside. And there's nobody there. Great block by Jared Kyahalo on Rod Carpenter, the corner. But Rod Carpenter had no help. Watch him turn the corner. Everybody's bunched up inside. The corner's open. It was a great call. I mean, Jim Kreiner knew that they were going to run the blitz at him. Jared Kyahalo, number 35, coming right into your living room. Watch him seek out Rod Carpenter. That's a fullback on a corner, and there's your result.
And in fact, he did 2 guys actually pushed Carpenter back into Russell, the safety man, and Carpenter couldn't get there. Smart play, smart call, well executed. Nice move by Dickerson. 6 points, thank you very much. A shallow kick that is fielded by Carpenter, who's got some work to do, gets past Marcus Thomas. Robert Flickinger, the Englishman, brings him down with a solo tackle. That's 3 special teams tackles for Flick now, the former London Monarch.
And that's another guy. I mean, he plays defensive end, and it's another guy that Jim Kreiner said was he's a guy that has really come on. I mean, last year he was just a national, but now we can use him all over the place. And special teams is nothing but desire. And that's desire. See, look at the legs churning. He won't stop, and then he throws his body out there in the opposite direction. That's special teams. It's heart, desire, and wanting to get there. And he's been there 3 times tonight.
Slowed by a shoulder injury much of last year. Now John Saka, can he step up? He's in trouble. He's down. And that can be attributed to Brad Keeney from the Atlanta Falcons, an offensive lineman converted to defensive line. He's made a solid start to his Claymores career.
Actually started off with the Galaxy in Frankfurt. They traded offensive tackle for him, Keith Wagner.
2-yard loss. And a bit of movement at the line there. I think like Keeney might have been a little bit quick off the mark. Certainly a lot of movement.
Ray Leonard. 79 on the
Gray.
5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Ray Leonard's the boxer.
I was going to say, I'm bringing in Emmitt Smith. You're bringing in Sugar Ray Leonard.
Hey, you'll never know who you're going to see over here in the World League.
So another 5 yards tacked back for Amsterdam brings up 2nd and 17. Time very much a factor now. Pressure comes from Jason Simmons. He gets it off to Dedrick Smith, and Smith is met and stopped by the cornerback Kevin Scott, who came over in a hurry, the former Detroit Lion. And there's a bit of pushing and shoving and a little bit of frustration starting to creep in now for the Amsterdam Admirals, I think. No damage done. Batario Rashal just exchanging pleasantries with Israel Bird there. And now the Scots have 12 men on the field, and Keeney trying to get off, and that is the 2-minute warning. With the score, the Scottish Claymores 16, the Amsterdam Admirals 3. We'll be back. Back here in Amsterdam, the Admirals are in trouble. 2 minutes left, flags come in. They're trailing the Scottish Claymores 16-3 in what's been a defense-dominated game. The Claymores have just applied that little bit of extra pressure. They seem to have settled the quicker of the two. And unless something very strange happens here in the last 2 minutes, looks like the defending champions are going to set off with a victory. But a flag down and an officials conference. And Tony Corrente will give us the call.
False start. Number 64 on the offense.
Goes against the offense. George Coghill, one of the original Claymores. He's had an outstanding game again, a real team leader. And that doesn't come as much of a surprise to the people that know him. George Coghill, Marcus Thomas and Scott Cooper were all here right at the start. Coghill said, the place has grown on me. I really like it over here now.
He's a neat guy. To watch play, and a neat guy to talk to. You know, before he left our meeting yesterday, he said, you know, hey, would you say hi to my mom? She's watching back home in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and she's not feeling well. And Ma, George's thoughts are with you.
And Robert Flickinger and Jason Simmons have their thoughts very much on John Saka. And Flickinger, the Englishman, has come up with his first sack.
And that's what they were talking about. Jim Kreiner says, this guy has come on to be a pass rusher. He's a national that I can use in the rotation. You saw him make 3 special teams tackles on kickoff, which is a feat by itself.
Yeah. 6 sacks, 9 hurries, 9 knockdowns. It's been tough for John Saka. And it's going to be tough now for the Amsterdam Admirals. Brian Greigert right back at the edge of his end zone. Just gets up a good punt in terms of hang time, and it's fielded at the 47-yard line by Dimitris Martin, who runs into a brick wall. And his own player in there, Mikhail Slautsky, the Russian, number 57.
You know, you're talking about Saka and his problems and troubles tonight. Well, they're not going to get any better until they get better up front. And I have a hard time understanding and believing that you can do that when you're running 3 and 4 wide receiver sets all the time. It's nearly impossible to get something done with 5 offensive linemen alone. I mean, in the NFL, that's called the run and shoot. And that's just about out the window.
Jeff Smith is back at center for the Scottish Claymores, the man from the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's a first down, and it's ball control offense. Ron Dickerson will pick up 2 or 3 yards. And with just over a minute remaining, I think the Amsterdam Admirals know they're in a little bit of trouble. It's such a shame for Jim Kreiner. He's not at all unhappy, of course. But it's just a shame for Amsterdam. They were so keen to come in here and grace this wonderful new arena with an Admirals victory. I don't think it's going to happen for them tonight.
And we got to get it first.
And Amsterdam has always been so strong, too. They've only lost 1 game in the history of the World League since it started here in '95 again. And again, in their first game here in the arena, it appears to be that they're going to drop this one as well.
The arena has some stats on it. 9,000 tons of steel. It was originally planned to have just 8,500. Then someone told them Bill Mars was coming into town.
They had to beef it up a little bit, right? I'm going to beef it up tonight. I'm a little bit hungry.
You're getting hungry, huh?
I'm getting a little hungry.
Yeah. It's been a long day. Some of these fans still here, still enjoying it.
Home of not only the Admirals, but of the Ajax soccer club.
That's right. And they lost here on Wednesday in a Champions League soccer match against Juventus from Italy. Up in the luckiest stadium this week for Dutch teams. The pitch back goes to Dickerson. He gets some more great blocking again. He's down to about the 35-yard line. We'll pick up maybe a couple of yards. Now that'll bring up 3rd down and 7. Timeout called by Amsterdam with 54 seconds remaining.
That's our last timeout.
Okay. Now Luganbill's face there pretty well said it all. Ron Dickerson, well, he's got 82 yards tonight. Last season he amassed 71 in a blocking capacity role, so he's already outstripped his whole performance for last year.
82 hard-earned yards, I might add. He got a lot of those on his own. Now you saw the touchdown run. He had the fullback up in front of him, but a lot of the times it was just picking and choosing, picking his spot. You know, Nick, you think that this is such a violent game and American football is so vicious, but nowhere in America, at any stadium, do they have a special section that is netted off for the visitors.
This is for the visiting American fans, something like that.
Do you see this? That's all net.
Dickerson once again going through, picking up a 1st down. But I'll tell you, that net's for the visiting official American dignitaries that are over here tonight, you know. Jeff Russell on the stop, Dickerson continuing to pile up some yardage, and Amsterdam can't now stop the clock.
Yeah, there's a net. I mean, is that where they put all the hooligans? I mean, when you walk in, you get a hooligan certificate, and they send you straight to that. Excuse me, sir, I'm one of the hooligans.
Well, how come you're not in there then?
Get up to the net. I mean, that's what the net's for. Am I right, Nick?
You're basically right. It is for the protection of visiting fans in case some home fans become over exuberant and over enthusiastic.
You guys are vicious.
Sid vicious. Last 10 seconds, Dave Barr takes a near flag, comes in, stops the clock with 7 seconds remaining. I think Jim Kreiner won't be too unhappy with the way his team performed tonight. They've definitely got better after a sloppy start offensively. Dave Barr has shown an awful lot. They've got a little bit of a running game, which we thought was a weakness. Their defense looks pretty solid. He can just work on getting his wide receivers sorted out a little bit better. They look a very, very well-balanced team.
I'm supposed to say that, but hearing you say it makes it all sound better.
Yep. It's the British accent, you know.
Actually, you're right. He's got to be happy with the fact that he saw his team do a lot of things. Not great.
The only thing about this is it wasn't as bad as the first one last year.
And
you said it all, yeah. Dave Barr drops to a knee, and that should do it. The handshake start. Al Luganbill strides purposefully onto the field. Philosophical. And he'll meet with Jim Kreiner.
Nice job, Jim. Thank you, Al. Nice job. Thank you.
And I think one or two of us thought, Bill, that there was the potential that this could be a World Bowl preview here. The Scottish Claymores certainly look well placed. When you think that they'll build from this?
Oh, they got a lot to build on, and they're going to go back and see that they were able to do a lot of things, like I was saying. Okay, not great, but there was a lot of things. Their quarterback can run. He can see the field. They've got a tight end that can catch the ball. They get it to the wide receiver. They have mobility and usability in their backs. Dickerson is a fullback and a tailback. They hopefully will get Saran Stacy back. Major Royster off injured reserve. He'll be the running for him. They still didn't get Alan DeGraff to read the ball, and that's going to be a big weapon for him at some point in time. Now, for the Admirals, I think they've got a lot of work to do. Not necessarily on defense. I thought their linebackers were exceptionally well. For the most part, they had good coverage in the secondary. They need a pass rusher. I didn't see a pass rusher jump out at me tonight for the Admirals. But offensively, it all starts up front. That's where their offensive line, they're going to have to work on that to get better.
An impressive win for the Scottish Claymores. They've beaten the Amsterdam Admirals in the season opener in the World League, 16-3. A very impressive job by the defending champions.
And the World League champions continue to dominate. You know, you look at this game, Ron Dickerson has to be the man of the match. Excellent football game from him.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you know, Dave Barr might have a word to say about that. Yo Murphy made some good catches, but really the story of the game was the two offensive lines. Scotland's offensive line played really well. Amsterdam's offensive line didn't, and full credit to Scotland's defensive line as well. And, you know, for me, it just makes me feel really good for all you folks north of Hadrian's Wall. I finally picked Scotland to win, and they did. I mean, this just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, you're right about that. But going back to Dickerson.
I'm trying to get on their good side.
Yeah. You're taking Gia's place, huh? But going back to Dickerson, Nice touchdown run, but a lot of things led up to it.
Yeah, and it's good to see Ron Dickerson do this because basically he's been one of these guys who's filled a lot of roles for the Claymores but never really gotten a chance to step up into the limelight. So when he did have it, he took full use of it. And I think the touchdown run was typical of a lot of the runs he got because you'll see the great blocking. They catch Amsterdam, and there you see the two linebackers coming in on the blitz, but look at the way that side is sealed, right? Good blocking by DeGraff and Reed, and then a great block by Kaihilo, and that puts Dickerson through. But DeGraff and Reed didn't get a ball thrown to him, but, you know, if nothing else, he earned his keep right there. You'll watch him come in. DeGraff and Reed's the wide receiver coming in on the right of your screen, and right there, see, he's sealed off that side. That gives Dickerson the room to move, and then when he sees the block coming by Kaihilo, he moves outside it, which is good running. And another view, there's those two linebackers coming in. Look at Brady holding the corner. There's DeGraff and Reed, and wham, Kaihilo puts it through. I mean, that's three good blocks, good play calling to take advantage of the blitz you knew was coming from Amsterdam, and good running.
And then you want to look at the other side of the Scottish team. Keith Powell did an excellent job on the line, but again, their entire defense was outstanding.
Yeah, and it tells you something when Robert Flickinger, who, you know, has only been playing defensive end since last season, because he was a tight end when he played for the Monarchs, is able to come in and get a sack like that. It means, A, you've got some good people there, and B, you're putting pressure on all over the place. And, of course, C, Flick has come a long way up at Scotland.
Did Scotland take Amsterdam out of their game early, or was it just the coaching of Luganbill?
Yeah, I'd like to say it's the first, but I think you're right. It's Amsterdam. Maybe Al was trying to fool everybody by saying they wanted to run, but that's his game. You remember when they played in '95 really well? They did it by running the ball, but they didn't try it. I mean, it's almost as if they realized that they weren't going to be able to dominate the line of scrimmage, and they went for passing. But you really thought, especially at the beginning of the second half, that they'd come out and try to run the ball a bit more. Brent Moss hardly ran the ball at all. I mean, Dawkins carried a few times, and they didn't get much success. But you just thought they were going to come back and try, because that's the only way John Sackett's passing game is going to work.
Well, I mean, going into the game, I had a chance to talk with Luganbill. Bill Moss also said that he had a chance to speak with him. And it seems like Luganbill was trying to be the master of deception where, you know, he's saying, I want to go half and half run versus pass. And you look at a game and, you know, 80% of his plays are up downtown. Yeah. We have Jim Kreiner for an interview. Let's go back to the stadium.
A lot of resilience, and they've got a lot of things that suggest a bright future. And I think we can join their head coach, Jim Kreiner, down on the sideline. Coach, congratulations, first of all, on the victory. It wasn't pretty, but I think you'll be happy with just a win in this situation.
No question, Nick. That's exactly the case. Anytime you can win on the road, you know, in your opening ball game, then that's got to be a big plus, and it gives us an opportunity to build with 2 home games coming up in a row. You know, hopefully we can come out of this first half in good shape with another win next week.
Coach, you did see some good things out there. Tell me about your quarterback, Dave Barr.
Well, Dave made some good things happen, and he made some mistakes, but he's a young man that's just learning the game. He was injured a lot in college, and he's going to do nothing but get better. He throws the ball, a nice ball, and he also has the ability to run.
Jim, how important over here in the setup of the structure of the World League and the bowl, how important is it to win this first game?
Oh, it's like winning 2 ball games. That's how important it is. Winning on the road in your opener is like having 2 games underneath your belt. And it'll make a huge difference when we come back now and play at home 2 weeks in a row.
Jim, one of the things we were looking for up here was to see how Amsterdam managed to establish the running game. That was a priority of theirs. It didn't happen tonight. We didn't see it. Was that a plan of yours to take it away?
We felt like we had to, in order to control their passing game, is to take the running game out of it. And our coaches did a very nice job of putting together a game plan that enabled us to put a lot of pressure on them and keep the running backs contained.
Right, I understand you've got a young quarterback just behind you, Dave Barr. Perhaps you could call him over for us, Jim, and we can have a little chat with him. But he certainly had a very impressive game tonight.
He did. Dave's going to be a dandy, and the guy backing him up is going to keep the heat on him, Spence Fisher, so we feel very good about both of them. David!
Well, I think we're bringing in Dave Barr now. Jim, I'll say once again congratulations and well done, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Nick.
Here. Dave, congratulations. This is Nick Halling. Hope you can hear me. I mean, for a guy that hasn't played a game in 3 years, you look pretty composed down there.
Yeah, I mean, things are pretty hectic with the whistles blowing and the sound system here, and the 25-second clock goes pretty fast, but we were able to put it all together and get a win.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Dave, about the speed of the game. I mean, it started out fast for us up here.
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference like with that fast clock?
It's hectic. I mean, one, just getting the play over with this stereo system being so loud and getting up the line of scrimmage. A lot of times we couldn't go on later counts, we couldn't motion, and some pivotal plays we had to kind of change up. But we were able to adjust and get the win, and now we know what to expect. At least I do.
Dave, you were able to distribute the ball around a little bit. You got it to your tight end, to your fullback, to your wide receivers, but you weren't able to hook up with Alan DeGraff and Reed all tonight. Any reason?
I mean, it's just the way the ball bounces. You know, Winnie was in there, and we were just trying to take advantage of the defense. They did some schemes that we had to adjust to. We weren't sure which looks we were going to get. And, I mean, the ball just didn't come his way. It's not that, you know, we were going away from him or anything. It's just what the defense gave us.
Now, you've got 2 games in Murrayfield coming up. If you win those, you guys are in pretty good shape. How important was this win on the road tonight?
I think it's great. I mean, knowing the fact, I mean, the home opener at this new stadium and the fact that I heard that Amsterdam hasn't lost in Amsterdam, it was a huge win. And it gives us a little momentum, but really we've been to war once now, and I know some of the guys, and they're getting to know me, and that's what's going to really help.
Dave, 3 years gone by since you started and actually played in a full game. How does it feel to get one under your belt?
I can't tell you how great it feels being out of football for a year last year, finishing up school. To be back and just to enjoy everything. It's hard to enjoy things, but a couple times I tried to look up and take a deep breath and just enjoy things. But to get the win, that's what's important, and just get the momentum going again is real nice.
Dave, congratulations. Make sure you enjoy things tonight, and thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks
Dave
a lot.
Thank you.
Take care.
So a victory for the Scottish Claymores. Bill, I think you've got to agree that they deserved it. They earned it tonight.
Yes, they do. I mean, they're off and running, and you have to love the ability to win your first game like they talked about, because there's 4 games left, and whoever gets to be the best at those 5 games, we're going to host the World Bowl.
And the Scottish Claymores have taken the first step to a successful defense of their World Bowl trophy with a hard-earned 16-3 win over the Amsterdam Admirals here in Amsterdam. From Bill Mars and me, Nick Halling, thanks for being with us. Bye-bye for now.